Hello and welcome to the ISTE Young Educator Network podcast. This is episode 8. Today is January 28th, 2015. Feels like we're living in the future, doesn't it, guys? And so this is a show where we talk about integrating technology into the classroom as a young educator. So I'm one of your co-hosts, Bill Sullick. Hi, nice to meet you. Joining me are my co-hosts, Robert, Jenny, and Christy.
Hi everyone, my name is Christy and I am a digital learning coach in Tustin, California. So just a little bit about me.
And I'm Robert Pronovost. I am a STEM coordinator in East Palo Alto, California.
And I'm Jenny Schley-Reed, and I'm a library media teacher in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
And my name is Bill Sullick, and I am Director of Technology at Hillbrook School up in the Bay Area.
All right, so one thing that we want you to all do is share some of those epic moments today on our Epic Yen moments, that is. You can do that at iste.org/yen. You can also follow us in our online community, iste.org/yen, and connect with other young educators from around the world. And don't forget to tweet out some of the things that we're sharing and things that you're learning and engaging with us. Our hashtag is EpicYen with a capital Y-E-N.
All right, so to jump into this, sometimes when we have these podcasts, we have special guests, and today, especially for the kind of the relaunch of our podcast, everybody who is a co-host are the special guests. So the first thing that I thought I'd throw out there for everybody is kind of thinking about the Outstanding Young Educator Award, because everybody in here received that or received the Emerging Educator Award. What has that done for your career? Anybody want to jump in first?
I'll go. As a library media teacher here in Kenosha, it really kind of was a way for me to open up my networking a lot more and get connections with people all over the country, whereas before I was not really able to share as much with other people that were all over the place. Since then, I've gotten a chance to do an ISTE podcast through the PLN Learning Series, which was really exciting, got a lot of interesting feedback. People watched it from all over the country and the world, actually, so that was really exciting. And just getting the opportunity to present more at conferences and network and create that social environment has really been exciting for me.
That's awesome.
I agree with you, Jenny.
Yeah.
I think that for me it's been more about just becoming more like a broader network where I feel like I can just be just Tustin and just in my school district, but this has allowed me to kind of branch out and get to know a lot more people and market myself more globally rather than just within my small districts.
Right.
Yeah, I know for myself, it kind of came at kind of a prime opportunity because I was transitioning from being in the classroom to being in the district office. But it really helped, what you've all said, broaden that community. I was really able to connect with a few people who kind of were going into the same job or the same role that I was. So it was pretty awesome because we were able to just kind of feed off one another, kind of the best practices, things that have or have not been going well. So that really helped me in my first few months in this transition from teacher to district office. Bill, you're muted.
Oh, that's so awkward. My goodness. You know what? It sounded so much better when I was muted. The award's been so huge for me, opening up so many doors. That I'm new to the role as Director of Technology at Hillbrook, and before that, I was teaching elementary school, and it was a way to kind of bridge that gap. I knew that I wanted to move into more technology-focused and less only classroom teacher-focused, and this was a way for me to make that progress. So it wasn't just like, I teach second grade, now I'm Director of Technology. It was a little bit less of a jump, so it was good.
Do you think we should provide people with a few tips if they're thinking of applying this year? I mean, does anybody have a tip? I guess.
Sure.
I guess my big tip, if since I asked the question, was really having a clear focus of what do you want people to know about you? How do you want to represent yourself with your video? I think the biggest thing to focus on is your artifact. At least for me it was, because I think you can really demonstrate, whether you do a video or a whole portfolio, you demonstrate who you are to someone that has no idea what it's like in your classroom or in your learning environment.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to throw out there the idea, too, of anybody who's watching this thinking about maybe that other young educator who's next door, and recommending one of them, nominating them as well. Yeah, it can be quite a fantastic thing. That's actually how I ended up being nominated, was through our local affiliate Q, and so it was quite an honor to be nominated. And so that's another avenue too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a big thing for me actually was just talking with other people that applied for that award. So this last year I actually got the KL Bitter Vision Award, since I was no longer technically a young educator, so kind of awkward right now. But talking with Karen Lehrman, who won the KL Bitter Vision Award the year previously, like, you know, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking, and she was able to give me some feedback with that. So, and that's one of the great things with our ISTE community, is that we're all there and we're all visible. So for those of you that are thinking of applying, you know, you guys can, it's so easy to connect with others that have already received that award and be able to connect and say, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking. And it's been so important for me as just a reflective piece of what's important for me and what do I want to share.
Fantastic. So we're thinking about, you know, tips for being nominated or nominating yourself, and something that really comes up when you are going through the application is thinking about what actually brought you to education, what made you want to be that educator that you are, and especially for anybody who's considering nominating themselves or someone else. I mean, that's really also how are you? What brought you to the point where you are looking to share and spread beyond just your community? So I don't know, Christy, Bill, Jenny, if you have any thoughts about what made you want to become an educator, and then what made you want to share this with everybody else?
Yeah, I'll go. For me, I think I always wanted to be an educator, especially like elementary teacher, love little kids. But when I started teaching, and especially incorporating technology, I realized just seeing, especially in kids that are like English language learners that maybe struggle, and then being able to give them technology where they could feel successful, that changed my teaching. And recently, in the past few years, being able to coach teachers is where I'm passionate, because so many teachers want to use technology and they just don't have the tools. And so being able to share that and give them the, you know, just the confidence to do it has been amazing. I think I get more excited about seeing teachers do it than the kids, because it affects that many more kids. You know what I mean? Like they're my students.
I agree with that, because I was actually a social studies teacher for 4 or 5 years, and I was the teacher that was always taking the kids to the computer lab, and we were doing all that, and then I went back and got my master's in instructional technology because I was so excited about that. You have to have this good pedagogy, but then somehow bringing in the ed tech stuff where it's not just let's go play games, we're just, you know, actually making things and creating in a meaningful way, and just seeing that reaches students of all different skill levels and in different ways, and so in their excitement to showcase and show what they've learned. So that really what kind of drew me into the library media role with younger kids.
So, Bill, I see that you're pondering. I see in our notes that you're pondering the word educator.
Yes, I am. I highlighted the word educator. So for me, it's always been in my blood. It wasn't really a choice. I feel like I don't know like what pop culture character it would be, but like I knew that that was my destiny because every single person on my mom's side of the family has been in education. So I was like, no, I'm going to be a rock star and work in a studio, and did that for a while, and that was really my passions. And then my mom convinced me to sub, and then slowly but surely I was like, yeah, okay, I love teaching, I need to be a teacher. And the magic for me was when I was able to merge my passion for teaching with my passions for music and for technology and all of that. Ended up, just like recording some really cool songs with my students, and it became like this magical thing where I just got to. It sounds so cheesy, but when you get to just do what you love in the classroom, but truly to figure out a way to merge your passions into the classroom so that it becomes this authentic experience with your students. That's been the really exciting thing for me.
Thanks.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of maybe destined to be in education. I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't have a history of family members who were teachers. My dad did get into it late in his career, but it was really kind of seeing the differences in a couple of different schools that I had kind of tutored or supported at, and my high school experience, and seeing how passionate some people were for their education, even though the education that they were receiving there's so much more that they could have been receiving. And so that's really what drove me into it, was wanting to give more and wanting to just share everything that I could with as many students as possible. And as far as kind of the technology, I mean, it was kind of along the same things that Christy said. It just so happened that technology was the tool that I could use to support more of my students at once. And then as I became better at that, that's when I started to share it with others, and kind of even move into this role where I'm supporting others and coaching others. Yeah.
Good answer, good answer. So shall we jump into some of our favorite ed tech tools?
Sounds great.
Robert, looks like you're first on it.
Yeah. So I had a couple of ed tech tools that I wanted to share. One's kind of a little bit older, but it's still, getting a lot of use around my district, which is Little Bird Tales, which is a pretty fantastic tool. It's for the iPad. You also you can use it online, but it's a way of basically bringing storytelling in. Students are able to draw images or import photos, and actually audio record their story, which is pretty fantastic. Especially, we've been looking at the Common Core standards for 2nd grade, which are about making audio recordings with a presentation, and it fits those Common Core standards right on. The other one is Bo and Yana, some robots that my school, we have or our district, we have the ability to use for Hour of Code. Bo and Yana are pretty fantastic because there's an app called Blockly that can pretty much allow you to do whatever you want with them. Oh, and actually, I'm calling them Bo and Yana. Their names are actually Dash and Dot now. So, Dash and Dot.
All right, and mine are also kind of, the newer one was the Khan Academy has actually just put an iPad app out that's a free iPad app, either for the iPads or for iPhones. And I don't know how many of you are using the Khan Academy in your school district, but in my school district, I know a lot of teachers really enjoy using it as that reinforcement of learning for students as practice. You know, a lot of our teachers like to use it on the iPads just now that they've gotten access to it. Because I was talking to a teacher today actually, and he was saying it's really nice because the kids can go to the help button. They can also, instead of trying to use the mouse on a computer, and he works with special ed students, they can actually use a stylus and just write the answers and use like the little note pad area to try and figure out math problems. But it's just, it's very nice how the Khan Academy, as you guys all know, is aligned with the Common Core, and it's just a good reinforcement with videos. And even if you're just into history and you want to just kind of look up some more information, they've just got so many excellent resources. So I was very excited that recently has gone on to the iPad as an app. And then the other one that's been around for a while, to me it's fairly new, is Explain Everything. I personally started using the whiteboard creation tool recording of EduCreations about 2 to 3 years ago. But what I really like about Explain Everything is it is a paid app, but what's nice about it is you're able to, those of you, have you guys used Explain Everything?
Love it. It's one of my favorites.
And
yeah,
so,
love it.
yeah, and this is the one that I'm really working with my kids a lot. So for example, this year, 4th graders during this time of the year are working on questioning. And so we call them thick and thin questions. Thin are easy to answer, thick take a long time to answer. And so the kids had to plan out a whole script for themselves about how they were going to teach someone else in 4 slides what a thick question was and a thin one, and give an example. And what's tricky for the kids is they are learning that they have to write their script down, but then on the actual Explain Everything, it's more visual and drawing and showing them their learning. And so a lot of kids struggle where they want to just, it's so funny, when you want them to type everything, they won't. But then this, when you say, please don't put all of the information on your slide, they just want to write everything. So we kind of talked about how, well, when you watch a TV show, which surprisingly Full House, by the way, is really popular with 4th graders right now. Who knew? I mean, it was popular when I was in 4th grade. But so they will say, I said, well, do you see Michelle walking around with her script up so you can see it? No. So then we talk about how would you plan out a good script and then teach somebody about it in an interesting way. So I just really love the way you can record and delete and things and save as you go, whereas with EduCreations, if you didn't get it done in one take, at least for us on the free version, then we were just kind of lost. And so that's why I picked Explain Everything.
For me, I picked Animoto, and what I love about Animoto is you can just create a video in really quick, easy steps. But I think what a lot of teachers don't know is that it's free for educators, and when you apply as an educator, you get 10 minutes, you get a lot longer than 30 seconds, you get more songs, but the biggest thing that you get is you get 50 free student accounts, and all the students get all that as well, so they get longer videos, longer creation. So that's my absolute favorite. And then the other one is called Kahoot, and it is just a fun way to ask questions, and it's super fast to just put it up on the board and have the kids answer the questions, and the music on it behind it is really fun, and then you can download the Excel sheet to see their answers and everything. So it's just kind of a fun way to do a quick assessment.
That's awesome. Our Mandarin teacher uses Kahoot, so she loves that. That's one of her first big ed tech things that she was using. So
nice.
Stoked that she likes that. Well, my first one I feel needs to be Showcase. So for those of you playing along at home, in the Hangout on Air, it looks like The Price is Right, like dollar tag at an angle. I'm sharing all these links in Showcase, and I'm not sure how it's showing up on the other end, but I'm copying and pasting it from our show notes, and it looks like it's showing all the resources right within the Hangout. So that's awesome. And then the one I actually want to talk about that I just added to Showcase is called Shoutkey. Has anyone used Shoutkey yet?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, this one's awesome. I learned about this up at Urban School up in San Francisco. It's a temporary URL shortener, so it expires by default in 5 minutes, but you can also have it expire in 24 hours. So it's not meant to be like, when you present at ISTE, here's the links to my slides. You would never use Shoutkey for that. But the idea is, what's the link to that? And you're in the room with someone, and you just need a very quick one instead of saying, plus.google.com/hangout/ and you read on and on and on, right? We love the URL shorteners, but you don't need it forever. So Shoutkey is like a human, easy-to-understand word, like shoutkey.com/new, where people can actually type that in. And you don't get to choose the word, but you can refresh it, and it'll give you a different word. So I love that it's temporary, that it expires, and also that it's just like an easy-to-understand human word that you could shout across the room. So our 5th grade history teacher is going to do that tomorrow. he's going to create a Google Doc on the fly with his students, and instead of adding each student, he'll just make it anyone with a link can edit. And then, all right, guys, let me just paste this into Shoutkey, shoutkey.com/philanthropy. And then they type that in, and they're right to it. So it's a nice little hack for you UL shorteners, and it's by far my new favorite one.
Nice. I like the idea of it not less litter of the shortened URLs everywhere, because these links just expire and they can be recycled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also why it's their actual human words instead of having to be like, ISTE 2015 presentation on yen. They all get taken like with Bitleys. Yeah, these are nice ones.
I'm gonna jump in real quick and add one more. I know it didn't have it on the list originally, but I was inspired by Jenny because she was talking about how Full House is now in. I just yesterday went and saw the actual voice actors for Animaniacs.
Yeah, I saw some Instagram pictures. That looked awesome.
They were amazing, and it's pretty incredible to like see in person, but hear the voice of this cartoon character that you really were into when you were younger. And so Animaniacs, while from the 90s, has some great videos that are still really, really relevant. Teach kids about Magellan sailing the seas, the U.S. states and the capitals, the world, the countries of the world's a little out of date. And actually last night they added a new verse for everybody who was in the auditorium. But there's a lot of great things that can be taught through the songs in Animaniacs. So great thing. You can go to YouTube and Netflix and you can stream them all. So that's pretty fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I actually added the 50 States song to my own YouTube channel. I added subtitles to it that line up perfectly, so it's not like enable subtitles because that's not mobile friendly. I actually went into Final Cut and chopped it up, so I think that falls under fair use.
Nice.
And used it with all my elementary music students back when I taught that. So yeah, they loved it. Loved that song. All right, so we need to give a shout out, guys. Some folks are using the hashtag #EpicYen out on the Twitters, as my mom would say. So a shout out to Amy Weldy. She used the #EpicYen hashtag talking about Genius Hour with her students. So that was really cool to hear. And if you don't know about Genius Hour, check the hashtag Genius Hour. It's fantastic stuff. It's also a nice way. Like I didn't know Amy until now, and it was a cool way to connect with other young educators by following that hashtag. So.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you want to be a part of our shout out at our next Google Hangout, you can join our discussion in our online community, which is ISTE.org/yen. And this, our recent discussion is all about the term digital native. So join in.
And don't forget, we always love to hear shout-outs of things you've tried that you've seen us talk about here on one of our podcasts, and great feedback. And, of course, if you're doing any interesting sessions, workshops, keynotes, and sharing, please come onto our Google Plus and ISTE communities and stay connected with #EpicYen and share the things that you're doing. And we'll do another Google Hangout next month. Our date is Monday, February 23rd. At 5:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome. So thank you guys for listening to the ISTE Young Educator Network podcast. Thanks for the crew. My name is Bill Selleck. I'm on the Twitters as @BillSelleck.
My name's Christy Andre, and I'm on Twitter at ChristyAndre2.
I'm Robert Pronovost, and I'm on Twitter as @Pronovost.
And I'm Jenny Schlee-Reed, and I'm on Twitter at Schlee-Reed.
So and be sure and join us on the internets at ISTE.org/yen, Y-E-N. Connect with other young educators from around the world. We'll see you guys next month on the Young Educator Network podcast. You guys ready to try and do an #EpicYen together? 3, 2, 1. #EpicYen!
#EpicYen!